Hello, Internet. We're Only Lovers Book Club. We get together once a month and we read a romance book. We take turns, and this very last hangout of the year of our Lord 2019, Andrea chose the book. It was The Reckless Oath We Made by Bryn Greenwood. I have the book because I literally read it in like 48 hours.
Woo! You still
Okay.
got bronze, but good job.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck you guys. Okay, oh man, that's something I would have loved to like tally up to, like who got silver and gold and whatever for the books that we read.
But that would have taken so long. We'd
Yeah,
have had to go
yeah.
back through
It's
all of our
something that
Dios
chats.
maybe I'll
mío,
do for
sí.
like next year. I don't know. Okay,
Hubiese
so
ganado Andrea. I feel
yeah.
like hubiese ganado Andrea, and then you would have gotten second place, and then I
No
would have been
way.
just
I
like
would have
crying in the
I would have
corner.
gotten first place. And
I don't know, Tashai. I feel like this year you were like, there were
Yeah.
several books that you finished
you
first.
finished fast, yeah.
I was reading in the bathroom.
All right. Before we
I'd be
jump
like, I'm
in,
just gonna take my backpack. I'll be right back.
20 minutes
Como las
later.
nenas de la escuela. Como ya saben que no se pueden, no permiten el celular. Pues
They'll
como
take it to
que,
the bathroom.
ay, it's that time of the month, me tengo que llevar mi backpack.
I'll be right back. I just need it. It's fine.
It's
Okay.
literally just for their phone.
Joke on me Kindle app. Swipe.
Oh, yeah, that's me at work. Like from like 6 to 6:30, there's nothing like really that I want to do. So I just like Kindle Cloud Reader. I'm just reading on the computer. Okay. Anyway, don't tell my job. So before we kind of like dive into the discussion, let's see. What I wanted to do was I wanted to plug some stuff. So Andrea fulfilled lifelong goal this year of publishing her book. Was it this year or last year? Was it this year?
Oh, yeah.
Was this year?
Sorry, I thought you were going to say something else. So I was preemptively making a face because I thought you were going to say, like, her lifelong dream.
I just always mean to do it at the very top, and I always forget. So Drea has a book out. It's called Westwood Monster Patrol. Check it out. The link is below.
Woo!
Also coming soon. The book is much better than that little example. So there's a novella coming out from a new series, #Holiday Hookups, and it's called a Christmas Parranda, and it is a Latinx female Christmas Carol romance remix. So you can pre-order that. The link will be in the description as well. So
And
go ahead and check
you
it
know,
out.
it's crazy because, like, the girls on the cover look
I know,
so
they look
much
so
like-
familiar. I don't know. I was like, do I know that girl? Like, she's cute. She's cute. I think she's cute.
crazy because we all live in different places. And
So
it's crazy.
weird.
Amazing.
Unless, like, you know. Anyway. So
Life coincidences.
lots of other cool stuff happening. We're trying to go to Thailand at some point. So I put a tip jar. I have a coffee account. And so if you, internet watcher, want to give us a little tip, you can click the link that says tip jar to our coffee account, and you could leave us $1. It's cool. I'll take it. I don't care. So yeah, that's all. Those are all the links in the description. So I just wanted to go ahead and plug that because I keep forgetting to do it. So I made a list and I did it now. There you go.
Yeah. I don't have anything to plug that is worth plugging.
Not me neither. Next
Next
year,
year.
maybe.
Personal project 2020.
Yeah, next year maybe. Who knows? Okay, you might be wondering why I'm holding a floppy banana. I'll tell you why. Because it's the end of the year, and we have to do our Only Lovers Awards. And so this year, the honorary award is a floppy banana that I just bought because it was so floppy and cute. Tashai and Andrea are disgusted by it.
No, not by the banana, just by that just weird green
tip.
And how it has that little ring around it.
Look at this end. Look at this end. Like, look when I do this.
Oh God.
No me gusta. Just stop.
Anyway, but it's like a cool stress. Like I've been talking and like playing and massaging it. Like this is what you are supposed to do with it, not porquerías like I'm doing. So yeah. So we have to go through our awards. So let's do this. I'm ready. There are some that I don't even know. What do we do when there's no consensus?
I think we just talk. about
Yeah,
it.
we just say
just-
that like there's no consensus.
I'm really hyped about these awards. I'm not getting the energy, but that's okay. You guys can be low energy. I'll be energy
Óyeme,
for it.
yo estoy aquí vestida, mira, hasta tengo elf shoes, así que
I can't wait for the epic selfie. Okay, so this year we read 12 books together because we didn't skip any months this year. No hurricanes. That was really helpful. And no migraines as well because someone got contacts. Me. And so, yeah, we read Captive Desire, Crimson Hero, Volume 1, Strange Weather in Tokyo, Erotic Stories for Punjabi Widows, Pride, Pride and Prejudice Remix, The Night Tiger, Passionate Rivals, The Duke I Tempted, War, The Horsemen of the Apocalypse 2, Flashed, Tokyo Tarareba Girls, and The Reckless Oath We Made. So we broke it down into categories, and so the ones that we didn't reach consensus were like, I think like the kind of like not important ones, but like we'll I guess we'll talk about it. So the first award is for most chemistry. So this is when yeah, our protagonists like have like the sizzling chemistry. You just can't. I was like, what the fuck is that sound? Our protagonists have sizzling chemistry. You know, you're feeling the sparks coming from the page. You have to stop reading because you're just smoking. And so the winners are no one. We couldn't agree.
we should have una pandereta.
We couldn't agree. I know, but okay.
I have
Do you have an instrument? I don't. I just have a banana. So you guys
Oh,
gotta do the rest.
wait.
Let me tambores.
Oh, perfect. Oh,
Yeah, okay. You're in charge.
So, okay. So I chose, for most chemistry, but I chose Patrick and Lena from Flashed, which was the Zoe Castillo one. And Andrea chose Miriam and War from War. And Tashaya chose The Duke I Tempted. So Poppy and Westmead. Why did we all disagree?
Bueno, yo no sé, because in Flashed, I felt like they got along, but I just like knew where the story was going, so I didn't really care.
Mm-hmm.
And then in War, bueno.
Ay, miren ya, me dejan quieta los Horsemen porque saben que el año que viene el tercero.
We're not reading that.
You can't tell me what to pick and not to pick when it's my turn to pick.
Bueno.
Okay.
With that one, it was more like I already knew what it was gonna be like because we read Besties. I was like, okay, I know what it's gonna be like.
Also,
but
it
with Duke
wasn't
I
good,
Tempted,
but
I was
okay.
like, it felt like more. I don't know. It was like sexier than I thought it would be sooner.
Yeah.
Like no sé, me.
Yeah, I get you. I chose Patrick and Lena because of the whole phone sex stuff and because of the whole texting and like for me it was kind of like the most modern of the chemistries, the one that I could relate the most to. So like their sexting was really like what brought it home for me.
What won the gold?
But that's okay. We're different people with different tastes. We have
Yo
different chemistries.
escogí War. Nadie me preguntó, pero I chose War.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
I love, your classic enemies to lovers trope. And okay, so in this case, they were enemies because he was destroying humanity, but it's still enemies to lovers.
Next category. The loveliest love interest. So I struggled with making this list because I felt like some of the books that we had, like both parties were kind of like main characters. And so the opposites were the love interest. Anyway, whatever. We did have a consensus. And the winner for loveliest love interest is Gentry?
I don't know. In my head, I said Gentry.
In my head, I say Gentry too. Because it sounds like Gentry. And so, yeah, we chose Gentry from The Reckless Oath We Made. Yay! Congratulations! Yay! Here you go! You're the loveliest love interest.
He'd be so happy. He'd like bow and be like, "Oh, I think
he would wear this. He would wear this on his like jousting spike. That's my favorite. Okay.
He'd put it in his pocket, and then Z'd be like, "Oh, is that a banana in your pocket?" And he'd be like, Why, yes, my lady. Would you like
It
a
is my
banana?
lady. Girl, we gotta talk about it. Okay, let's move through. Hottest sex scenes. We also had a consensus, and the hottest sex scene that we read in 2019 was the last best BDSM scene in The Duke I Tempted. The scene that I was living for, the one that I was waiting for the whole time. It was hot. I'm glad we all agree. Let's move on. Moving on to the opposite side of the spectrum. Oh, wait, sorry. Here you go, babe. Banana.
She's gonna whip him with the
Yes,
banana.
gonna smack him on the head with the banana. He's gonna love it. Okay, so the cringiest sex scenes. We had a tie. The winners of the cringiest sex scenes are the sex games from Captive Desire and nasty patriarchal almost sibling sex in The Night Tiger. Congrats! Yay!
Get out of here.
I was fucking so disturbed. All right, super side character. Possibly my favorite of the things. And I went with just one because I didn't consider Ren to be a side character. Like, I thought he was a main character, but maybe I'm wrong.
He had way less chapters than...
But I still thought he was a main character. Like, he was a big part of the story.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then the girls in Tokyo Tarareba Girls are in, like, every single chapter and are definitely main characters as well.
We only read the first one together.
Okay, whatever. So they're both main characters / side characters.
Ren from The Night Tiger and Kaori and Koyuki from Tokyo Tarareba Girls. Congrats!
And
you supported
the dog.
What dog? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I voted 3 times.
Leon the dog.
He was so cute.
Okay,
I was only going to vote for 2, and then I realized you also included the dog. And I'm like, well, of course the dog deserves an award.
Well, I put his foster brother, too, like Trag. And so
that guy. I don't care about him. He's not a dog.
Okay. He was nice, though. He was pretty nice.
I'd vote for Ghost and Zelda and Indy.
Okay. Our next new category is most representation, but I don't know, like, because we did read pretty, I don't know if we read, like, super diversely.
We read pretty diversely.
So what was your favorite, or, like, what was your favorite representation, I guess? And so we had 2 winners, and that was Erotic Stories for Punjabi Widows and The Reckless Oath We Made. So is in The Reckless Oath We Made, like, is the diversity in like neurodiversity? Is that what?
Yeah, I was thinking, like,
and foster families.
I feel like I read a lot of books, I think, that have neurodiverse characters and that have non-traditional families and stuff like that, but I don't, either it's all about that, or, like, I don't think I've ever read a romance where, like, the main character was dealing with so many mental stuff. Like, I mean, he had visions, he, had, like, speech issues, he was autistic, and it had, like, actual, not like, oh, I'm a super high functioning autistic, but, like, oh, I do stuff with my hands and I get really overwhelmed and overstimulated. And it's just, I don't think I've ever read a romance. I mean, I know that there are romances with, like, people who identify on the spectrum, but I've never seen one quite like as intense as this one. And I think foster care and adoptive families in general, I rarely see very little of. And this one was cool, too, because we got to see, like, his bio family and his adoptive family. And, so for me, that was just more, like, and maybe it's because I have been reading so diversely that, because you're right, most of the books we read were by authors of color or, but this one just stood out to me because I was like, wow, like, I've never like this is the kind of character that if this were real life, people would be saying like, "Oi, don't let him get married. Like he can't consent. He's not like of sound mind." You know what I mean? Like it would be that person that people are talking about, and so it was really cool to see him as like kind of the star of
Nice.
his romance.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I just didn't know like how we were doing the category.
No, I didn't know either, but that's why I went with that one.
And Tasha, you voted for that one as well. Did you want to add to anything that Drea said, or?
I voted for the same reasons. I also thought it was really interesting to kind of include people who grew up either in and around the prison system too, and also the different economic class systems. Yeah, like people who grew up, you know, with family members who were indoctrinated under religious like anti POC minority organizations, and also just like the disparities of class and money. Like it was just like all walks of life, and I was very interested in all the characters, and I really appreciated that they didn't limit the narration to only the two protagonists.
Yeah.
Like not only did they include all of these people within the storytelling, but
like the peripheral characters as well.
Exactly. Like even the peripheral characters got to kind of have their perspective be brought to the forefront throughout the book. So that was just really, really, you know, interesting. And that's why I read the book so fast, because I was going through it and I never stalled out in any part because it was just so interesting. And then I voted for Punjabi Widows too, because it's like older women talking about sex.
Older
and
women
like
talking about sex, fantasies, literacy. And I really enjoyed that. Cool.
Yeah. I did too. It's just, you know, I didn't know we were allowed to vote for more than one.
I vote for everyone. I don't follow.
And we vote for everyone. They're all my favorite.
I don't follow.
They were all my favorite, and they were all my disappointment.
Strange Weather in Tokyo too.
Okay.
I threw another vote for Strange Weather in Tokyo.
I was like, "Oi, Tish, I like my books."
I'm a cheater. No, because here's the thing with Strange Weather in Tokyo. Not only is it like a May-December romance, but also I like cried on the train on my way home finishing that book.
It's so good.
Like as I was looking through the list of books to vote for, I'm like, oh my god, I did end up just like crying aggressively on the train when I finished. Damn, that was a good book.
And I remember the sushi I ate when we talked about it, and that was good too. Okay.
I remember we were in front of the fireplace.
Yeah. All right. Next category. Biggest disappointment. No consensus. All right, so let's skip over Andreas because I feel like we've heard it enough to know.
I hate that. I will never stop hating it.
So obviously Captive Desire because liquids for Andrea. I voted for War because I thought that from here to the second book, this author would have developed a sense of humor, but psych, it's the same story. Tashai, why did you put Flash as your biggest disappointment? That's what I want to know.
There wasn't any fucking stripping.
Oh, you're right.
There wasn't any stripping, and I had like put a lot of emotional investment into like some sort of strip type dance situation, and that never happened. Yeah. And also, it resolved itself really easily. Like it was one of those books where I was like, pero and there was no stripping, so I was like, whatever, because I already knew. I wasn't disappointed with War because I knew what it was gonna be like. I wasn't disappointed with Captain Desire because I knew it wasn't gonna be good. Like all the other books, I approached all the other books knowing what to expect, so I knew how I was gonna come out of it overall.
But Flash
I was like, ooh, up, like, this is probably not gonna be too good, but also there's at least gonna be some stripping and some like nada.
Nothing. Okay, that's totally understandable. And I would say those reasons are very valid. We all have very valid reasons to be disappointed in these books. Okay, for the three of you disappointing books.
They get the green.
I love this banana. Okay, and best overall. So this is the book that we enjoyed overall, despite, everything. And I really couldn't decide, so I just kind of let you guys decide. And so the winner of the best overall pick is the Reckless Oath We Made. Yay!
Yay!
I feel like this is like a deja vu of like when we read Winter King for the last, and then we just picked Winter King for a lot of the stuff. But it was, yeah.
It was a good book.
It was a good book.
But to be fair, we didn't pick this one for a lot of stuff, just for like Loveliest Love Interest, which I feel like we would have picked him no matter when we had read it.
Okay.
Because he's so sweet.
On to the Fuck, Marry, Kill Gauntlet. Andrea, who would you fuck, marry, and kill? What?
Did you say plucky protagonist?
Oh, shit.
No, you did not.
I skipped it, sorry.
I was scrolling along with you.
I am sorry, I totally skipped it. Okay.
It's okay.
It's the second one. I literally just went, whoosh. Plucky is protagonist. So this is for the main character, who is the spunkiest, the coolest, the one we want to be the most like, or, you know, the one that we didn't completely fucking hate. Miriam.
Or the one that was aggressively reflective of feelings that you may or may not have about yourself, and you were reading, and then you're like... Yeah.
And we all agreed the winner of the pluckiest protagonist is... Rinko from Tokyo Tarareba Girls. Woo woo, trying to find love in your 30s, failing horribly, dying alone, single and sad. Okay.
I was reading the 7th issue today next to Ivan on the sofa, and I kept reading like little blurbs to him, and he's just like, that book sounds like, and I look at him and I go, like it hates women and also older women.
Wait, but I haven't read the 7th one yet, Tashai, so no spoilers.
Oh, I'm dying for the last one to get here.
Yeah, you like binge them all. I've only read the first 6.
Yeah, I read the last.
Well, you have until 8.
7,
get on
6,
it.
and 5.
I know I have 7 and 8, but I've just had a lot of stuff going on.
Okay. I gotta borrow 8. I have to return all of them to the library tomorrow, so I can return everything before I leave. But then I gotta get 8 so I can see, because I'm like,
I know. I'm like, what? How is this gonna end?
But then I was like, lo sabía.
Me too.
Okay, no more.
Okay. All right, and then, now we move on to the gauntlet. So we pick a character from all of the books, any of the books, and we choose who we want to fuck, who we want to marry, and who we would kill. Andrea, you're first. Who would you fuck, who would you marry, who would you kill?
I would fuck War or Peste, you know.
He's not in this gauntlet.
No. I know, but I'm just saying, like, you know, if there was like a family reunion, you know, I wouldn't...
At the same time? Okay.
I would marry Gentry, and I would kill, I think I said literally everyone in the universe of the Captive Desire books.
Yes, of course.
Is indeed what you said. Yes.
Bomb them all.
Indubitably. Okay, my turn. So I would fuck, or I would like to fuck, Poppy, but at the one at the end of the book, when she learns how to, you know, take control of the situation. I would marry Lena because she can cook with adobo. And I would kill War for obvious reasons because, you know, I'm trying to save the world. The end. Also, he sucks. Fake ass Khal Drogo. Bullshit. I would swear to God, I would rather marry Peste than, like, have anything to do with War. That's how bad it is. Jashai! Who are your picks?
All right, let me go to the document. So I said that I would also fuck Poppy for Christina's previously stated reasons. Mm-hmm. I said I would marry Gentry, or maybe like a grown-up Ren in a not creepy way.
Yeah,
so, like,
it's very explicit.
Once he goes to school and like gets a job, and then I like bump into him, and he's like, "How do you write your name?" And I'd be like, "Blah blah blah," and he'd be like, "Oh my god." We're soulmates. And I'd be like, oh, what? What's the dog? Oh, my God.
I've been like, what?
And then I said that I would kill the love interest in The Night Tiger.
Good.
The creepy brother. I'm keeping all the men away from you because you're mine.
That was definitely cringy. I don't understand how... It's fine. Whatever. It's fine.
So gross.
Well,
Over.
those were our awards. This was a great year. We picked all of our books, and I think it was a good year. I can't wait for next year. Do do do
Yay!
do. All right, on to book club business. So, Drea, why did you pick for us to read The Reckless Oath We Made this month to close out year 2019?
Well, I had originally picked something else that I still want to read.
Yeah, I
Because
had to
let's see,
hold on it, and I technically started listening to the audiobook because I didn't have anything like to read, and then I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're changing.
yeah, I ended up reading this book right like at the end of November, and I really loved it. And I remember I kept thinking, because like I started reading it and I was like, oh, this is really good. Maybe I should stop and we should do it for book club. But I wasn't sure if it was a romance. So I had to like keep going until I was like positive it was a romance. Like halfway through the book, I still wasn't sure if it was going to be a romance.
Yeah.
But once I confirmed that it was indeed a romance, I switched it. I switched my pick. Just because I thought you all would enjoy it too, and that was an easy way to make you read it.
Wow,
So we could talk about it.
sabotage, cheating. We're gonna have to go
Well,
over guidelines.
I read the author's first book last year, and it was one of my top books of the year. But even though I told both of you to read it, you didn't read it. But now, because I made this
It's
one
on
a
my
book club
to
book, yeah, no. Anyway, that's why I picked it. I really like how the author writes. I love her writing style, and she's really good at writing characters. Her first book was really controversial, but this one was not. So I thought it would be a good book club book.
Cool. I like this. Let's read the inside.
Yep.
I like how the end is like many things can bind two people: love, a common enemy, a dangerous promise. Girl, we'll talk about it. Okay. A provocative love story between a tough Kansas woman on a crooked path to redemption and her unlikeliest of champions. Z is nobody's fairy tale princess. Almost 6 foot, with a redhead's temper and a shattered hip, she has a long list of worries: never-ending bills, her beautiful gullible sister, her 5-year-old nephew, her housebound mother, and her drug-dealing boss. Z may not be a princess, but Gentry is an actual knight, or knight, complete with sword, armor, and a code of honor. 2 years ago, the voices he hears called him to be Z's champion. Both shy and autistic, he has barely spoken to her since, but he has kept watch, ready to come to her aid. When an abduction tears Z's family apart, she turns to the last person she ever imagined, Gentry, and sets in motion a chain of events that will not only change both of their lives, but bind them to each other forever in one of the most moving and complicated love stories of our time. See there, it says romance right there, Dre. The reckless oath we made
wasn't sure.
redefines what it means to be heroic, revealing the strength, honor, and power that lie at the heart of love. So, I mean, it's real. It's this.
Okay, I know it says it, but like we've been burned by Goodreads book blurbs before. If you know what I mean, like
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I
You're
was
right.
like,
You're right.
maybe they mean romance in like a romantic way, like with the knights.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't sure.
Okay. So, because Drea picked the book, Drea has some questions to ask us, and then we can also like kind of just kind of like talk. Like I feel like in choosing it for one of like best representation, we did already kind of like talk about why we all like this book so much. But yeah, go for it. Hit me with your best shot.
I feel like this book is a lot of different things. So my first question is, if you were describing this book to someone, what genre would you classify it as?
Romance.
You think the romance is like the main part of the story?
I mean, here's where it gets complicated because there are stories with romantic elements that aren't necessarily a romance. But the way that I define it is like there's two people, there's odds against them one way or the other, but there's a happy ending. And this does have all of those things. Whereas like I'm trying to think of another fucking book that we read, and nothing is coming to my mind right now. I'm like, there's not really a romance here. Like let's say Andrea didn't fucking finish that book, the fish book. You know, the first October day,
Yeah.
where there are some like flirty romantic elements to it, but I wouldn't consider it a romance. It's very securely like paranormal mystery. So I guess I would call this like a weird romance. That's what I would call it. If someone's asking me, so what are you reading? I'm like, this weird romance between like this like white trash bitch and some guy who thinks he's a knight. I'm like, but don't just read it and find out. It's actually really good. That's what I would say.
That's about right.
What about you, Tosh? What would you say?
Um,
Whenever I'm in doubt, also, I mean, this isn't always a surefire way of doing it, but I will go to Goodreads and scroll all the way to the end, and it'll be like the top genres that this book can be found under. And,
Okay, so what is this one under?
Okay, let me see. Hold on. Okay. No, that's on my Red books. What the fuck? While I look, Tosh, feel free to answer or say something.
I don't know, because when I started to read it, it's obviously not fantasy, but when I started to read it, I thought that's where it was going to go. So I guess I would just tell someone it was a romance, but it's such a weird, it's like such an interesting way of presenting it that I wouldn't have.
Yeah. The top three genres.
I wouldn't have expected it.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I guess romance, yeah.
The top three genres like that come up at the bottom at the bottom of the Goodreads page is fiction is 1, 2 is romance, 3 is contemporary. So it's like contemporary romance fiction, but it's like fiction first, and I can see why that's the case.
Yeah.
I can definitely say there's definitely more to the story than their romance. So it's not not like just this is a romance, but there's that is like it
That's
is
the
like
thing. Like I didn't think they were gonna become romantically involved.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
As
like
I was reading it, like I didn't expect that they were gonna cross that line because it was so.
And so that actually leads right into my second question was, did you ship them? And if so, did you feel that way from the beginning? Was it like a gradual thing?
I did ship them only when I felt that it was safe for him to be with Z. When I felt like, when I got to know, like, the way that she's described, she's like, not the, she's a good person, but she's got so many things going on. It was really easy. I felt like it could have been very easy for the author to write her as like a very uncaring, kind of like, I'm going to take advantage of the situation because like he's helping me kind of thing. But she's good enough that she doesn't take advantage of him. And even before she learns of his autism, is aware that something is going on with him, and it's creepy. But when she gets more information, she isn't really put off by it. She really respects his boundaries. And so he respects her boundaries. And so I absolutely shipped it. I was like, oh, she gets it. He's safe with her. She's not going to take advantage of him. I mean, to an extent. And so, that's
yeah.
I think I had.
Well, I
think I had a similar feeling too. Like once it was clear that she wasn't actually gonna do anything to take advantage of him or hurt him, and once it was clear that he like consented to it, like wasn't being pressured into any sort of like sexual relationship, and actually was like down, but was arguing with himself a lot about whether he could or couldn't, then I was like, oh, okay, he's just unsure, but it's not that he doesn't like feel what's happening.
So do you believe that Z ends up like falling madly in love with him? Like what sort of partnership, because they're clearly in a partnership at the end, right? Like
yes,
it seems like so what, like emotionally, what did you think was going on there? because it's not like your super like traditional
Yeah,
romance
and
where
not
it's like,
once,
oh,
and
this
not
girl, they
once,
fall in love.
yeah, and not once does either of them say, I love you.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? It's always like, I think that, I mean, they are in a relationship, but I think because of their shared experience and like Gentry's needs, so to speak, and like basically the limits that puts on what they're able to do with each other. Like, I think that they definitely have like a romantic relationship, but it's not like, definitely not traditional. Like, they understand each other, they're having sex, but they're not like boyfriend and girlfriend, you know? Like, I feel I don't even know, is it deeper than that? Or like whatever, it's just kind of like a gray area where they just kind of get each other. And
Yeah, it's like I could see them being together on their little like castle in the forest, like for the rest of their, you know what I mean? Like I see them in like a committed relationship. But yeah, it was something I was wondering about. Like, do you think she's like in love with him? Do you think it's just like a I don't know.
what do you think, Tosh? Are they in love or what? Or what?
I think I think that they definitely love each other, but I think that it's the kind of relationship that probably transcends the superficial things that come from forming a relationship in the beginning. Like, I feel like they kind of skipped past a lot of layers of superficial interest in someone and just like attraction to someone, and they kind of fast forwarded to this just deeper understanding of what the other person's needs were. And I think because they have this understanding in a way that no one else really understands what this person wants or needs, like she sees Gentry as a, you know, as a man who has his beliefs and
You're
has
my
this
man.
code of honor, and he you know, he's like a real adult. And she, the fact that someone who's like as tall as her and like as intimidating as her, the fact that she becomes this like damsel to him, and he protects her and he saves her when no one else has ever protected her or saved her, that created this like love for him because everyone always takes from her and doesn't ever take care of her. So I think that instilled a love in her that she's just like never understood or felt before. And then for him, she never like talks down to him. She never talks to him like he's not fully capable of being an adult and making decisions, and she lets him make his own decisions and respects his decisions. So I think that the equal footing but also support system.
I remember there was a line in the book, I think when they were like in the motel on the way to do their mission to try to get her sister back. They were like with his friends, with Gentry's friends, and there was a line where like one of the friends was like, "What the fuck are you doing to Z?" Because Gentry was like talking with the voices, and it said something like,
Oh.
"I Tazi was just like waiting as if he was on the phone."
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But
Was
I
it
really liked
Reese?
that.
Reese was just so
Yeah,
fucking irritated. Oh my god, I hated Reese chapters.
I hated Reese too.
I hated it so much. But yeah, yeah, she just got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was good. And I think it was, again, it was a really precarious moment because, you know, you read a lot of characters that are like, last year, many of my, well, not many, but a few of my favorite books had problematic female characters, you know? The lady
Yeah.
from the Pisces would have absolutely taken advantage of Gentry. She like, you know? But so I was kind of, where I thought it was going to go, where it was that she was going to take advantage of him, feel bad about it, and then make amends, and that it was going to be okay. But she never had to make it okay for reasons that Tashai said. She just got it, respected his boundaries, treated him like an adult, even though he was having some like, you know, some issues listening, like, hearing voices and Middle English and so on. And so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's like.
okay. Pero let's stop right here porque that was one of my pet peeves of the whole book. I love this book with all my heart, but that is not Middle English,
Oh
okay? It is
no,
not
of
Middle
course not.
English.
No.
It
I mean,
is,
but that's what they
that
call
is,
it, so that's what I went with.
I know that's what people call it, but it's not Middle English.
Okay, what is it called?
Middle English es como Chaucer, the Canterbury Tales.
Yeah,
Esas
yeah.
cosas, eso ni entenderías lo que están
Right.
diciendo.
So what is it in this book, Drea? Scholar, PhD, candidate.
So the closest I would like call it is like what you would think of like if you were reading Shakespeare or something. And it's not even exactly that. It's like it's like the author's own.
It's Renaissance grammar.
Yeah.
Renaissance fair. I would say Ren fair
Renaissance
English.
fair grammar.
Ren fair English. That's what I wanted. I wanted to know what
you
you
talk when you want to get a job selling turkey legs.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
And you have to be in character.
And in no part of the book.
What I'm saying is like for reference, like if you looked at like a Shakespeare play, for example, that's considered like new English, like what comes right before like our modern English. So even that, which doesn't sound like how we talk now, is still like, o sea, Middle English, te digo, es como it has letters that don't even exist now.
Yeah,
and
the sentences that went on for pages.
Yeah, and then like Old English
is like Beowulf.
It's like, like you can't understand any. That's like Latin.
It sounds just like that.
I've never gotten into Beowulf because I'm like, let me read this book.
I mean, it's good. If you're gonna read a Beowulf story, read the Grendel. It's like a kid's book from Grendel's point of view. It's really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wondered what you would think of it, Dre, because I remember you being pet peeved about it. But I'm like, if we're not gonna call it Old English or Middle English, then it's got to be called Ren Fair English, right? Because it's like that. Yeah, and I know that they don't call it LARPing; they call it the Buhurt. And I only remember that because someone made the joke that I made where it was like butt hurt. But yeah, I just in my mind cataloged it as Ren Fair English, where it's like this is what like a Knight's Tale English is, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that movie with Heath Ledger, and that had it had Chaucer in there, the character in Chaucer.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no, and honestly, I don't think it had to like. It wasn't like a super issue for me because that is what people call it, like out on the street. And like, you know what I mean? Like obviously he decided this was going to be like his lexicon and that's what people think of it when they heard him say it. So like I got it, but it was just like,
yeah. When he drops it at the jail, my heart dropped. I was like, what?
Oh my God. I know.
Oh, wait. Are they changing it?
I know. One of my favorite parts though was like when they go visit her uncle and her cousins, and everyone's like, "Look at this weirdo and how he talks," and then he like kicks their butt.
His ass,
and you're like, "Holy shit!" Dude, okay, that was the first moment where I was like, "Wait, am I like attracted to gentry? What?"
He beat that redneck's ass. Yes.
Okay, so speaking of attraction, my fourth question is not really a question. It just says, let's talk about the camping sex scene.
Girl.
Okay, just because like it's so different from like any sex scene we've ever read before.
I really liked it.
I liked it too. It was just very different.
It was, I don't want to get like super personal, right? But it sounded like, despite it all, it did sound a lot like when, at least for me, when like you're first getting to know someone sexually, like that's like, it's very reminiscent of that. Where it's like, is it okay to do this? Is it okay to do that? How do you feel about this? Except, obviously he needs time to like scratch his neck and his butt. Sorry, his back. He's like, he was having to like get it together and like scritch himself and get it. I liked it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was really cool and a really sensitive way of showing that everyone can have a sex life. And
I also thought it was a really organic way of having it happen because once it was clear that once it became clear to me that this was headed in like a romantic relationship, which was like just, around that time in the book, I was really wondering how that would be introduced in a way that didn't feel like artificial or just like, okay, we're gonna make this a romance now, which means they have to have sex. So yeah, this felt very natural in that she was drunk and was just like, well, not drunk, but like a little tipsy and was like
drunk and high.
Yeah, so yeah, you're right. So
Just
she was like
stoned, just a little stoned.
She was basically like,
very relaxed.
do I want to kiss him?
Yeah.
Maybe I do.
She did try to kiss him very early on. She didn't know what to make of his, like, attentions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so she tried to kiss him, and he's like, ah! You know?
Yeah. But it just seemed very, like, maybe we should try this, just to see. And then it, like, kind of worked out. And they were, like, enjoying themselves.
Y'all, can we talk about his, like, Renaissance English, like, sex talk, though? Because I have the book, and it's not my book, I didn't write in it, but I, like, took pictures of the pages where I was like, where I went, like, I would, like, reach over and, like, get the pages. So let me see. What did I... Okay, so this first one that I have is not really, it's not really, it's about her. It's like one of the very first pages of the book with Z, where she's like, I'd only tried to kiss him because it seemed like the next step to whatever was going on. I never understood romance, but I knew what it looked like from the outside well enough to fake it when I needed to. So I'd almost faked the whole relationship with Nicholas because I couldn't get a... Blah, 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 blah. Gentry, though, he was, I guess his word is chivalrous, but he wasn't romantic. The whole my lady, thy servant wasn't going to turn into my lady, thy boyfriend. So I like that very first intro, and I guess like that question of like, what is their relationship? It's not normal. Normal is not a good word. It's not
traditional.
I would say it's just
stereotypical.
Not typical.
I think it doesn't follow. It doesn't follow the timeline that a lot of romances follow, or it doesn't go in like that order of steps that people picture when they picture romance in either real life or in a book.
Yeah. Let's see. He also I don't have the other one, but I remember it with all my every fiber of my being, because every fiber of my being screamed when I read it. He says, "Suf, thy cunt is wet."
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, she's
like, you said the word cunt, and he's like, what? 'Tis a good English word.
And she's like, no, yeah. She's like, I can deal with someone saying it if they're gonna do something about it. He's able to do something about it.
He's like, hey.
Yeah. Screech. Another one. I have I think two more. Okay. I wondered if we hadn't had sex, I would have said yes to him coming to Missouri with me. Probably not, and I was glad not to be there alone. You want to come to bed and bond some more? I said. Weren't we elsewhere, somewhere safe? I would grind thee as a millstone grindeth grain to flour, but not here.
I read that one.
She says,
too.
I laughed because he had the best dirty talk. Weird, but filthy. I was like, yes. And the last one. Let's see, She says, I like your prick. Your hair is seriously messed up. I like your prick. He says, then I shall use it to lay siege at all the gates of thy keep. She says, oh my god, you are so fucking filthy. Blah, blah, blah. And then at the end of that section, it says, as for him laying siege to all the gates of my keep, we gave it a shot. And so then after that, I guess is what Andrea is talking about of, it's kind of like understood that they are partaking in the sexy times.
Yeah.
After that. Because it's not really like mentioned again. Although honestly, I would have totally loved like a scene where like, elaborate some more. Does he go like legendary? When like, never mind, I'm done.
Oh.
But yeah, I enjoy. I got a kick out of him. I got a kick. It's right up my alley. Like Monty Python Holy Grail nonsense.
That's the thing. It's like he was so sweet and so nice, but then he was so like saucy. It was like bueno, see, he's a man. Like, okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. We're making jokes now? We're making jokes.
She's
But
like, I need to protect you.
like so like confident in who he was and what he wanted, because I was really impacted by, you know, when all that shit goes down and he has to make decisions about like jail time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I was really impacted by him being able to say, you know, no, I don't want to plea insanity or whatever, because then people are going to medicate me and then I'm not going to be me and I'm just going to be stuck forever in like hospitals, because other people will get to decide like when I'm healthy or when I'm, you know, and like that really impacted me too, because it was such like a self-aware moment where he's like, yeah. I know who I am. I would rather be physically locked up than have someone like in charge of my mental well-being. And that whole ending. I'm glad the book has a happy ending, because I was worried for a minute.
Yeah, for a while there was like I'm sorry, y'all. I had to in that particular part of the book that you're talking about, I had to read the last page. I was like, what? Are they not gonna? And then here's the thing, like I didn't read the last page, but I kind of like glanced to see what names appeared, and I was like, okay, it's either a hallucination or an actual happy ending, and I'm okay with both, but at least like I get this closure, because I was like, I can't.
I wanted her sister to get shot.
Me too. I wanted her to lose custody. I wanted her to like, oh my God.
I was like, as soon as that whole thing starts blowing up and her sister's just being such a stupid twat, I was like, I get amado, por favor.
Right. She gave her the letter, and I kept hoping that she would like rip it up. Anyway, it was a good pick, Drea. I'm not. Yeah. I know we're not done. I know we're not done. I'm just saying, like, you know, in this like moment of like that, we're just like, shit. You know, it's good. Yeah. Okay, what else you got?
But no, I just have one. I have one last question. Because Gentry's mom his adoptive mom is in the book a lot. Mm-hmm. And so we also see her perspective a lot over like how worried she is about him and like situations out in the world, and like him and Z and all these things. So I was just wondering how you would react, like if you were Gentry's mom and he brought Z home and all this shit went down because he keeps insisting on like protecting her and she's involved in all this mess. Like, would you have reacted the same way she did? Like,
am I being honest, or am I being like a good person?
No, you're being honest.
I would never have let her in my house.
Yeah, I want to say that I would have been like, you know what we all say, like, I'm not going to be like my mom. Like, I wasn't going to be like her, but I probably would have tried at first, like she did, or like been super accepting. But then as soon as like shit got real, I was annoyed, but I got it. You know what I mean? Like, I totally got why she was. And that being said, she was underestimating Gentry. She was like totally, you know.
Yeah, right. But Z was exactly what she was worried she would be. So it's not like she was exaggerating. It was that she very correctly guessed what might happen, because you know what? He ended up in jail. People ended up dead. Her sister ended up in jail.
But that's not to say. But that's not to say. I mean, like she took a lot of the blame for it. She did try to dissuade him a lot. And again, I'm not saying that the mom was wrong. She was right. She was totally, absolutely right. I'm just.
Z tried to dissuade him in the way that you try to tell people not to give you something for Christmas, but then when they give you something for Christmas, you're like, okay. Like.
I mean, I thought she made a good effort, considering that he was so, like, obsessed with, you know, taking care of her.
Even in her fucking monologue, she's like, no, he wants to do it. So, like, I'll tell him he has the option not to, but,
I know he's gonna pick to do it. But she did it. Sometimes it's the thought that
personality.
counts. Sometimes, like, I'll say things just the same. I know that the outcome isn't going to be the same. When people come to work and they're like, "When can I pick up my dog?" I'm like, "Well, if you don't hear from us, or come at 5. You're not going to hear from me. Come at 5." But I'll say it anyway. Like, there's a chance I might be calling you early. I'm not going to call you early. They're going to be ready at 5. But I said it. That makes people feel at ease. At least people can say that I definitely did my part in this situation. So I think that she was also doing her part. I'm not defending her. I don't think she was like a great, responsible adult. But I think she was trying her best. She was trying her best.
I definitely would have exactly the same way, Andre. Honestly, more violently. Because she was like una mujer religiosa, and they were like, Jesus! I would have been like, get the fuck off my property. Like, would have let her come over, would have given her dinner, it would have been fine. As soon as it was like, oh, she's got some family in the clan, and her sister and all that stuff, blah, blah, I'd be like, hey, come with me to the grocery store. Close the door, lock the door, lock the door, lock the door, get the fuck in your room.
Yeah, Detective Hopper on his ass, just like...
Take the chancla. ¿Qué yo te dije? Vete a tu puto cuarto before I take all your fucking swords away.
Okay.
Feed into his like.
Ay, pero she threw. Ahora que tú lo dices, she threw away his sword. That made me so sad.
Yeah, okay,
I was
that
so
was
happy.
a lot.
To jail.
She was mad as hell. She was so fucking angry. I got it. I wouldn't have thrown out his sword. I would have thought about it. I would have chucked it outside.
I would have thrown it in a tree.
Yeah, and then it's still there. But
en el techo de la casa, and then they would have been trying to find somewhere symbolic to find the sword, and like a los 2 años when they finally go to clean the gutters, they would have been like, oh shit, Gendry, your sword's been up here the whole time.
Yeah, like tirarlo al monte y que queda así espetado en el terreno, and then it's like, ahí está la fucking espada. Cuando decida volver de la cárcel, pues entonces ahí fucking está la espada. But I didn't throw it away. It's still visible,
Just like how my family doesn't know how to throw knives away, so we just bury them in the backyard. Like, the cuchillo this is rusty. How do we safely just
bury it in the backyard? Yeah!
Stick it in the dirt. Put it. Okay, bueno,
Years later, when they excavate the sites of our homes, we're just gonna find so much cutlery in our backyards.
Old knives and fucking butter containers that never had butter in them. Anyway, that's my answer.
Those are my questions.
Cool. I have a question.
Yes.
How did you feel about I don't want to call it like that, but I feel like there was a lot of fat-phobic comments in this book. They make it a point to, a lot of the characters point out Z's weight a lot. Not necessarily probably to her, but they definitely think it to themselves. And I thought it was weirdly I don't know if it was out of place, but every time I saw it,
I didn't see. I know what you're talking about, but I didn't see it as fat phobic.
I don't think that's the word I'm looking for, but it was
no. I saw it as because Gentry is always talking about her like she's this princess, damsel in distress. People have an idea in their heads of what that looks like. Mm-hmm. If I could tell you princess right now, you would probably think blonde, skinny, wearing some sort of dress because that's what we grew up with.
Princess Peach.
So yeah, so I think people were always just really surprised to see her and were like, whoa, her body doesn't fit into what I thought a damsel
Even
was.
Reese is she'd be hot if she was 50 pounds lighter.
Yeah, I more so just took it to mean that Gentry had been talking about her for so long that they were imagining someone different. Mm-hmm. And then they were like, ay, pero qué es esto?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I thought she was, I know they don't describe her as pretty, but I imagined her in my head as very handsome.
Me too. I was like, she sounds like a babe.
Yeah.
I mean, think about like Brienne of Tarth. She's like, no one in the show ever reacted to her as like, everyone very much commented on like her size and her body shape, because it's like, oh, tú eres una mujer, but you're not supposed to look like this. Pero la mujer es linda. Like, she's beautiful, but you just have to not exist within the stereotypes of what you have been taught to think beautiful women look like.
Yeah.
And then
Girl,
you'll be fine.
you mentioned Brienne, and I'm bad. You haven't even finished Game of Thrones. I just remembered.
No, I haven't.
You did my girl so dirty.
No me grite, por favor.
Just wait till you watch it. Wait till you fucking see the utter bullshit.
I know I'm gonna be pissed.
I forgot that I was pissed, and now I remember it, and now I'm like pissed. Thanks. Okay. So what are our plans for next year?
Froze.
No, that's how angry I was. I froze her screen. Froze her
This
screen.
housebound.
Are you back? Oh, you're back.
Oh,
You were frozen.
You were frozen, but it was like you were frozen like
I'm getting a note. I'm getting a poor connection signal on the top.
Okay.
I'm okay at poor connection. I just have Wi-Fi. Unless Ivan's playing video games. Pero nada, que fue interesante que la hermana de ella was like described as all these things that women should look like, and her mom was like this woman who was, you know, chair-bound almost and had all these health issues. Y pues que ella, todo el mundo la veía a ella like this big, strong, like mujer who had to fight her way through everything. So I think because she was so quiet, the only thing you could really comment on immediately was her size. Like,
and her hair.
That's going to be the first thing people see. It's going to be the first thing people comment on. Y pues para ella, she's just like tall. She's a tall, you know, una mujer con cuerpo.
No BBWs.
Pero tú sabes que I always pictured like it's like I always pictured Gentry as like not conventionally attractive like throughout the book, but then whenever there'd be like a fight scene or something, I'd be like, oh my god, Gentry's abs, you know what I mean? Like, I know he doesn't but like just like the way, I don't know why, like in those moments he like transformed. And I was like, no, Andrea, he's not, like, you're not picturing who he is, but something happened every time he like had a fight scene that I was just like,
Gentry's abs, though.
Los músculos protuberantes.
Bueno.
Ay, Dios mío.
Cool. All right. So that's it. Only Lovers 2019. What a great year. Next episode is number 50.
Oh my god. Is that in January?
That's in January. So, of course, even though I said last time what I was going to put to read, now I'm struggling because I want it to be, like, really good. So, I don't know. I have some options. I'll let you know soon.
50 Shades of Alice in Wonderland.
I can't wait. I feel like that should be our first read.
Honestly, part of me wants to, like, not be sober when we discuss it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Because it's, like, supposed to be, you know, psychedelic and stuff, like White Rabbit, Jefferson Airplane.
I'm just going to take some shrooms and be like, guys.
Okay, like.
Where are you?
We're right here!
I'm melting. Fucking just lose my mind.
I don't know. Do you want to read that next month? I'm not trying to get out of the line. I just like figured it sounds like a funny book. It sounds cool. So I'm down to read it next month. What do you think?
yeah.
Yeah?
Mira, I mean, it can't start off 2020.
I won't stand for it. No.
We will confirm this offline. Did you want to do our top 10 list, or is that separate from this video?
Yeah, we'll do it separate because this one's already
Okay.
long enough. But
Okay, cool. Cool. Because I'm going to be in Puerto Rico for the next, 3 weeks. 2 weeks. I'll be there till January 5th.
that's nice.
So,
by January, we should know what our top 10 is.
I think mine's good. I already picked it. I put it on en la listita.
Okie dokie. Bueno.
Which is fun because some of them are one of them is young adult. I've started reading more young adult books to try to learn, just read more. No sé, a ver. And Jesus Christ, there's been some that have fucked me up today. That fucked me up this year. Okay for Now.
Okay.
My heart, it's these kids in during the war in America, and their racism. It's so sad. It's also sad.
Proud of you.
I just read Lizzie Bright, or I think Lizzie Bright and the Buckminster Boy.
You're that book, girl.
This boy makes friends with this little black girl who lives in this island, and the white people in the city are trying to get all the black people off the island, and it doesn't end well, guys. I cried.
I want you to make your top 10 video, but crying. I want you to be crying the entire time.
Okay.
Just that face. This is my top 10.
I was really excited because there was racial diversity, but then it turns out that it's terrible things happen. And racism. America sucks, you guys.
Así mismo. That's how I want. Okay, you've got your instructions. We'll see you later, internet. See you next year.
Oh, wait. We should have said see you next decade.
No, that's okay. We're still recording.
Oh, okay.
See you next decade!
Damn it!
And